the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You might have heard of it over the last decade or so. Over the course of 3 phases, we've had 14 movies grossing a total of over $10 billion, making the MCU the highest-grossing franchise in the world. Oh, and let's not forget that there are 8 more movies still to come. God, I love stats.
Naturally, over the course of that time, we've got to know the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk pretty well.
Or to be more specific, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans and Hemsworth, and, well, Edward Norton or Mark Ruffalo, depending on what decade it is. It's hard not to see these actors donning the spandex nowadays, but that casting lineup could have been so very different.
And I'm not talking about Tam's monstrous Lego remake.
Right. Anyway, with Doctor Strange set to shake things up, we take a look back at 6 castings that would have completely changed the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it.
Strong and brave, here to save the American way.
In probably my favourite MCU what if, John Krasinski almost played Captain America. Yes, the world's greatest paper salesman, office prankster, and Pam lover Jim from the US Office could have been the first Avenger. As he revealed to Conan O'Brien, he got all the way to a costumed audition, and as he was halfway through squeezing into Cap's spandex, he saw something that made him withdraw from the role.
And all of a sudden, Chris Hemsworth walked by as Thor, and he's like, "Hey, mate." And I went, "I'm good. This is stupid."
John, don't put yourself down. As a woman who's seen 13 Hours, believe me, you could have bossed that role. My goodness. To be honest though, the US Army would have never admitted him with this haircut, or stood for any of his tomfoolery. But imagine if he did bring some of Jim's ways to the MCU. Every time Tony Stark does something that irks him, he does a classic look to the camera. Maybe he could dress up like Loki to drive him nuts. Or the classic, set the Tesseract in a bowl full of jelly.
How do you know it was me?
Now we all know Tom Hiddleston for his role as trickster god Loki.
But Hiddleston actually originally auditioned for the part of Thor himself, even going as far as to pack the muscle on and don this horrific blonde wig. Yeah, it's not hard to see why they went with this instead. According to director Kenneth Branagh, he did a tremendous job, but just wasn't Thor. But while Hiddleston wasn't right for Thor, his troublesome demeanor did land him a spot on the table of Asgard as Loki. Luckily for both Hiddleston and Marvel fans everywhere, his first major motion picture quickly propelled him forward as not only the great Loki, but the single best Marvel villain in the MCU. Which, let's be fair, isn't too hard.
And to be fair, his version of Thor is still worlds better than Tam's.
Of all the Marvel almost on this list, Joaquin Phoenix as Bruce Banner was the furthest away from being a reality. In fact, he was only ever rumoured to be tied to the role, and that was at a time when Marvel wanted Edward Norton to reprise his role from 2008's The Incredible Hulk. So why would he have changed the MCU? Well, the answer to that depends on which Joaquin Phoenix we would have got. On the one hand, we could have got the Golden Globe and Academy Award winning Joaquin Phoenix. That Joaquin Phoenix would probably have given us a tortured Bruce Banner unlike any we've seen before. On the other, we could have had the awkward but endearing qualities of Theodore Twombly from Her, offset by a tortured Bruce Banner grappling with the Gamma-born beast within him. Or we could have had the other Joaquin Phoenix. You know, the confusing experimental performance artist that decided to make a mockumentary about his real life transition into a fake career in rap. During his performance artist phase, Joaquin rocked an out-of-control beard and gave incoherent stage interviews. As someone who prefers to do unconventional projects and add a little flair to his performances, who knows what kind of havoc he could have wreaked in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then there's the fourth Joaquin Phoenix. This guy.
Wait, who? Both of the USs.
Truth is,
While Sam Rockwell appeared as arms dealer Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2, he was actually on director Jon Favreau's shortlist to play the Man of Iron himself.
Favreau revealed that Rockwell was one of the actors he was looking at for Tony Stark early on in the casting process, albeit as a dark horse alternative. Of course, it's now unimaginable to think of anyone else but Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, but Rockwell would have made for a very different take on the character.
Although if you look at his performance in the movie Moon, he doesn't really have the best track record when it comes to artificial intelligence. So hanging around with Jarvis probably wouldn't have gone too well.
And one of the last times he was fighting an evil superpower, he was doing so as a guinea pig from the movie G-Force.
James Bond never had these problems.
So while Sam Rockwell is a great actor, maybe it's for the best that we keep our current Tony Stark in his red and gold armor. Although he did get to hang out with Mickey Rourke and a cool bird, so that's pretty good.
A bird.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Now bring it down hard. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it undone.
There have been more actors tied to the role of Star-Lord than Infinity Stones, and by that we mean more than 6, because there's only 6 Infinity Stones. Guardians of the Galaxy was a risky project for Marvel. It followed a ragtag bunch of intergalactic heroes that only die-hard comic book fans really knew anything about. And with a squad that included a green alien assassin, a gun-crazy raccoon, a talking tree, and a pile of humorless muscles, Marvel needed someone, anyone, that the audience could relate to. So for Star-Lord, the only human on the squad, Marvel needed a bankable leading man. The studio cast a wide net to find him, and it dragged in a whole bunch of potentials. There was the hapless drug dealer, Uncle Owen, Stephen Hawking, Dean Winchester, this dickhead elf, the knobhead from the OC, the pushover that totally isn't good enough for Veronica Mars, the worst Scott Summers ever, Lex Luthor, hello my legal name is Robin, actually, and the creator of the Dennis system. The guy Marvel eventually settled on, as we all now know, was Chris Pratt, the chubby idiot from Parks and Rec. Thankfully, he was perfect, and Guardians transformed him from a comedy schlub to a global superstar that would go on to race dinosaurs. All those actors that auditioned could probably have been decent, but it's hard to imagine they would have had the kind of chemistry that Pratt and Batista had.
Okay, and I got your back, big boy. Okay? I got your back. I won't touch you again. That's the last time I touch you.
John Krasinski almost picked up the vibranium shield to become Captain America, his lovely wife Emily Blunt was almost Black Widow. In 2009, she was an up-and-coming star thanks to scene-stealing roles in The Devil Wears Prada and Dan in Real Life, and she was in talks with Marvel to play Natasha Romanoff in Iron Man 2. Those talks petered off due to scheduling conflicts, but after the success of Iron Man, what film could possibly be bigger or more exciting than its follow-up? Gulliver's Travels. Hoo boy! It's actually not Blunt's fault. After signing her Devil Wears Prada contract, she was obliged to appear in a movie of 20th Century Fox's choosing. Sadly for Blunt, that movie was the Jack Black-fronted Gulliver's Travels. All might not have been lost for Emily and the MCU, as for a while she was frontrunner to play Captain Marvel before the role went to the Oscar-winning Brie Larson. But it seems like Blunt's not fazed with skipping out on the MCU, as her career has gone from strength to strength, with lead turns in The Girl on the Train, Sicario, Looper, and of course, shaming everyone's yoga skills in Edge of Tomorrow. So they were our alternative Avengers, but let us know which of them you think would have made for good Marvel heroes. And for more videos like this one, make sure to like and subscribe to GameSpot. We'll see you next time.